Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of English with Boss Huang Vlogs. I'm Boss and today we will be talking about how to increase your listening skills for English. So as I have said in my previous videos, I followed the order of listening, speaking, reading, and then writing for my English learning journey. If you would like to see the previous videos, click the cards above or go to the description below for my past videos and my YouTube tutorial playlist. I will also be making future videos telling you how to increase your core skills of speaking, reading, and writing individually. So today we will be talking about listening, and before beginning today's video, 98.5% of my viewers have not yet subscribed to my channel, so if you are one of them, please do consider subscribing so that you stay up to date on my future tutorials and English videos, and also to support me as a creator. So without further ado, let's begin today's video with our first tip, which is minimal pairs. Minimal pairs. Minimal pairs are a term in phonology which talks about words that have one single phonological element of difference. A few examples of minimal pairs are boat, bought, mad, mud, hurt, heart, men, main, van, then, bit, bet, but, live, and leave. So these are some examples for minimal pairs. They all sound somewhat similar, but they have one phonological element that are different from the others. So previously, I've talked about making a future video on how to differentiate between similar words or even homonyms, homophones, or minimal pairs. These can be quite confusing, and I've talked about teaching you guys how to differentiate from them. So if that's something you want to prioritize in your learning process, definitely comment below. If you can think of any other minimal pairs that I didn't use as an example, definitely comment below as well so that you can share with other people how much you know about the English language. So moving on to the next point is link sounds. Link sounds. Link sounds are when we link two different words together so that it becomes almost like a single word when we're speaking English that allows us to speed up the speaking process, and we don't have to stop to make every word as clear, but still that other people understand. So if you're learning English, you want to make sure that you understand these link sounds so that you don't confuse these link sounds of two words or sentences as one single word or something that has a different meaning. So the first example we have is red dress, a red dress. So as you can see, without linking them, I'm saying red, pausing for a bit, and then saying dress. But if I were to link them together, I would say red dress, red dress. So try to find out the difference. Once again, red dress versus red dress. So you can see that the speed of the two different pronunciations are quite different. And for the second one, for linking the words, as you know, red ends with a D, dress starts with a D. So I make these two words share the same D and they become red dress. For red dress, I need to pronounce the D sound twice, and that's why I need to pause between them. If I combine them together, I only need to pronounce it one time and it becomes red dress. It's the same as big gorilla, big gorilla. When linked together, it becomes big gorilla, big gorilla. So if you're a beginner in English and you hear someone reading it very fast, you might think it's actually one word that's big gorilla, but it's actually big gorilla. So that's the point of link sounds. You want to try to understand how link sounds work, how vowels link to vowels, consonants link to consonants, and also the different linkages between different words and sentences. It also works the same thing for a few more examples that I will give, such as hot tomato. Hot tomato. When linked together becomes hot tomato. Feel lucky. Feel lucky. When linked together becomes feel lucky. Quiet town. quiet town. When linked together, becomes quiet town. Quiet town. Pink car becomes pink car. Nice scarf becomes nice scarf. If you notice, the last two examples for pink car and nice scarf, pink ends with a K, but car starts with a C. The interesting thing about linking sounds is you only link the sounds and not the letters. So even if they are different letters, as long as they sound the same, they can be linked together. It's the same thing with nice scarf. CE makes a S sound similar to the S letter that makes a S sound as well. So when you link them together, it becomes nice scarf. So these are some of the examples for the basic link sounds. There are also different types of link sounds that if you want to understand more about, definitely comment below and I will go into detail about the different link sounds that I mentioned: vowel to vowel, consonant to consonant, consonant to vowel, or vowel to consonant. And if you found out or discovered any link sounds of your own, comment below to share it with the other viewers. Next up, I will do an example sentence using link sounds to make an example of how fast we can make the sentence with link sounds and without link sounds. So without link sounds, the sentence will be, I always sleep better when it is dark. I always sleep better when it is dark. If you listen carefully, you will hear where I need to pause and continue the sentence because there are two of the same letters back to back. Now, if I add in the link sound, it will become, I always sleep better when it's dark. I always sleep better when it's dark. So as you can see, it's much smoother, and also the time that is consumed from speaking this sentence is reduced. So once you understand how to listen out for the link sounds and also how to use link sounds for yourself, you will find English becoming a more efficient tool to use on a daily basis because you can express your ideas and understand what people are trying to tell you quicker. Moving on to the next part is contractions. Contractions are something that is used both in writing and speaking. So contractions are when we make two or more words into one word by adding an apostrophe. So by adding this apostrophe, you can magically make a word shorter, and I will also make a future video going in depth about contractions. So if you want to learn about this, comment below and we will see which subject the most people request for. So for example, N apostrophe T, when you find this in the end of the word, it is a contracted form of not. So for example, isn't is a contraction of is not. Wouldn't is a contraction of would not. Couldn't is a contraction of could not. Can you try to guess what a contraction of won't is? If you guessed will not, then you are correct. Won't is a contraction of will not. Other than the N apostrophe T, we also have the apostrophe RE, which is the contracted form of R. For example, your, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E is you are. A big problem that many English learners face is differentiating Y-O-U-R-E, your, and Y-O-U-R, your. They are pronounced the same but spelled different. One of the biggest ways I use to differentiate from the two is to understand that Y-O-U apostrophe R-E is a contracted form of you are. And your, Y-O-U-R, is something that you own. And Y-O-U-R-E is something that you are. So by doing this, you can kind of use this as a guideline to understand the difference between your and your. Okay, so those are the two basic contractions that we use in the English language. There are so many more that I will go into in a future video. Now, if you are wondering that since there are contractions, are there double contractions? If you are wondering that, then you will be correct. Because humans are a lazy species. We will always look for a way to make things faster and more efficient. So of course, we will have double contractions. And even nowadays, we have triple contractions. I will give you guys a few examples. For example, a double contraction is I'd have. I'd have. This is a contraction of I would have. I would have. So I would is contracted into I'd, I apostrophe D, and have is apostrophe VE. So if you can see that on the screen right now, it looks very strange and also very weird if you're not acquainted to the English language. So another double contraction is couldn't have. Couldn't have. Couldn't have is a contraction of could not have. Similar to the contraction of I would have, this contraction is spelled C-O-U-L-D N apostrophe T, so basically couldn't, the single contraction, and then we add the have, which is apostrophe VE as we said before, and you get couldn't have, which is could not have. Okay. Moving on to the triple contractions, one of them that we use the most, and you might have heard yourself, is IMA. IMA. It's spelled I-M-M-A, and it's a contraction of I am going to. I am going to. So there are 4 words, and you're putting 3 apostrophes, making these 4 words into one, so it's a triple contraction. It's a contraction, again, for I am going to, and it's spelled without apostrophes, directly I-M-M-A, IMA, I'm going to, I am going to. So far, if you have a favorite contraction that I just mentioned, definitely comment below, and we have 2 more of the harder ones for you coming up. So next one is Yaldav, Yaldav, Yaldav. Yaldav is a contraction of you all would have, you all would have. So this contraction is spelled Y apostrophe A-L-L, which is pronounced y'all, which is you all, a contraction of you all. And then we add the contraction of would, which is apostrophe D. By doing so, we get the contraction of you all would have, which is Yaldav, Yaldav. Lastly, we have the contraction of you would not have, you would not have. So if you can try to piece together the single contractions and then make it into a double contraction, and then lastly triple contraction, you can kind of understand how triple contractions and contractions work in general. Very confusing, isn't it? So these contractions can be quite complicated, and honestly speaking, we rarely use triple contractions on a day-to-day conversation basis, so you don't have to worry that much about forcing yourself to memorize these contractions too early on. If you think it is a hard time learning this, don't worry, take your time. I'm sure you're trying your best, and definitely remember to subscribe to my channel because I'll be making a video in the future going in depth about the different contractions and how you can make a better time of remembering them. So those are the points of the contractions, double contractions, and triple contractions that we use in day-to-day conversations or texting as well. Do keep in mind that contractions are not recommended for formal usage or different reports. Because these are formal, we try to use the full forms as much as possible unless we are really tight on words. Contractions are usually used only in daily casual conversations or casual texting. Moving on to the next point is to listen, speak, read, and write. So this point is to try and train all of the 4 core skills as much and as equally as you can. If you can, try to learn with materials that allow you to do all 4 of them. For example, you can listen to me speaking during my tutorials. You can read the subtitles provided in the CC captions. Also, you can do something called shadowing to practice your speaking. If you want to know what shadowing is in detail, comment below. Basically speaking, shadowing is to when you hear someone talk, try to copy and mimic them as much as you can as soon as you are ready to. So for example, as you are watching this video, try to repeat what I say. Don't pause the video, just keep going. As when you hear something, repeat it after me, and let's go with the flow. See how much you can go while shadowing me, and do your best to keep up. So this is the shadowing technique in a nutshell. You can try to do that, or you can try to listen, and afterwards you can speak your ideas, your feedbacks, and your thoughts on what you just saw, what you just heard, or what you just learned. So for the reading, as I said, you can read the subtitles. You can also read the transcripts while you are listening so that you can match up what you are hearing and also what you are reading at the same time. You can synchronize it. Also for the writing, you can try when you are listening before you read the subtitles to write down what you hear as fast as you can. It is similar to shadowing the speaking, but you are writing down what you hear into a transcription. Afterwards, you can turn on subtitles to train your reading and also to make sure if your transcription was accurate. Through this process, you can realize which parts that you did wrong and which parts you did right. For the parts that you did right, you want to congratulate yourself, especially if you did write a word that you did not know or you find difficult, because that goes to show how much you've made progress. If you got something wrong, don't worry. Take some time to review what you wrote wrong and try to learn about this word. And maybe if you make enough mistakes, you will remember it in your brain and you will forever know this word as the one that made you make so many mistakes. This was one of the biggest ways that I learned, and I find that sometimes in certain cases, failure really is the mother of success. Because through so many failures, I will especially remember the word that I kept failing. And I will have the motivation to remember that word, because every time I failed it, it would be somewhat frustrating to me. So that is the way I learned through my mistakes, and you can also share how you learn through your mistakes in the comments below. And so this is the point of learning through listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Try your best to practice all these 4 core skills at the same time if you can, or practice them as equally as possible. Moving on to the next part is to diversify your learning. So for this, you want to try to learn multiple different sources and multiple different contexts. For example, you might be directly learning through watching my tutorial videos, learning directly the different tips I have and the different ways I have for you to learn your English. You can also learn subconsciously by listening to music or watching movies and TV shows. To learn subconsciously, for example, music, is when you play music in the background but you don't actively listen for the lyrics. If you have a certain proficiency in English and you are able to understand the words, your brain will subconsciously pick up what is being sang in the song, and you will add on to your kind of dictionary and database of words, as we said before. So you want to try to listen to music, watch movies, watch my tutorial videos, read books, read blogs, read the news, and also these are all different sources that your learning is coming from. You can also separate them or group them by the time it takes for one sitting of this learning. For example, my tutorial videos range anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. So these might be more of the bigger bite-sized, more of the bigger sized meals of learning that you want to take more time to focus on. If you have short videos or short stories that you can finish within 3 minutes or 5 minutes, you can repeat them using the last tip of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. You can repeat these videos, repeatedly listening to them and then trying to transcribe them. Afterwards, you can try shadowing them. And then lastly, if they provide transcripts, you can try to read them and make sure if your transcription was correct. So this is the point of diversifying. You want to make sure you have a variety of different inputs and also a variety of ways for you to train your skills. If you think that using the last tip on longer videos, like my 10-minute videos, are a good way to practice, you can definitely do that too. It's all a matter of how much time you are willing to devote into your learning process. There is no correct answer, only what is best for you. So that's the point of diversifying your learning. And the last tip for today is repetition. Repetition. If you remember, we've used this tip in a previous video on a different topic. But repetition is so important for listening as well, because when we hear something for the first time, if it's something new or something unfamiliar, we might not remember it the first time. By listening to it multiple times, we will get the hang of how it is spoken, how it sounds to us. So if we use that with the tip of listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and we repeat that, we will increase our chances of remembering this word. We're constantly faced with it so many times, not only through your hearing, but you're also trying to write it down, you're trying to speak it, and you're also trying to read it. So by doing so, you're essentially understanding every aspect of this word through your practices, and that will increase your chances of your brain remembering this word for good. So if you want to increase your chances of remembering things, whether it be vocabulary, sentence structure, or grammar, definitely remember to repeat, repeat, and repeat, because practice makes perfect, and we all need practice. So those are the few tips for today. I hope it helped you in your English learning journey. If you had a favorite tip from today, please comment below. If you enjoyed these tutorial videos, please consider subscribing, turning on notifications for future videos, sharing my channel, and liking this video. I wish you all good luck on your learning journey, and I will see you guys in the next episode of English with Boss Huang Vlogs. Bye-bye!